Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a detailed buyer's guide. Really pulls no punches about the state of employee onboarding.
Mm.
If you're running a business or maybe managing an HR strategy, you definitely need to hear this. We're diving into why modern onboarding technology is, well, frankly, essential now.
Right. And our goal today is pretty simple. We want to extract the essential knowledge you need. So, understanding the true cost of, let's call it administrative failure,
Okay.
why those traditional paper-based methods are just obsolete, and crucially, which features you must prioritize in a modern solution.
And let's start with the cold, hard facts,
Yeah.
the organizational risk. This isn't a small thing.
Not at all.
Did you know that nearly one-third, almost 33% of all new hires quit within the first 6 months?
Wow.
But here's the real kicker. The stat that tells you your onboarding might be broken from day one. Up to 20% of employee turnover happens within the first 45 days.
45 days.
45 days, that's just staggering.
Mhm. It really is. And that's exactly why onboarding isn't just some administrative chore, you know? It's a critical strategic issue.
Strategic.
That early failure to engage, it ripples across the entire balance sheet. We know that when you manage to foster positive employee engagement early, it can affect productivity by as much as 17%.
17, that's quite a bit.
And boost overall profitability by 21%. So if you're just accepting that 20% turnover in the first 45 days, you're basically writing off enormous potential value right from the start.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If the stakes are that high and the financial impact is so clear, why are companies still getting this so wrong? You mentioned 20% quitting in 45 days. That feels way too early for it to just be about job training. What else is missing in those crucial early days?
You hit on a really key point. It's not just training, it's the whole environment, the experience.
Right.
Our sources point to 5 common problems, and they kind of create this chain reaction. The first one, which is often the root of the administrative headache, is manual paperwork.
The infamous stack of documents HR has to chase down, file, keep track of, audit.
Exactly. It puts this enormous burden on HR pros. It makes compliance genuinely difficult, and let's be honest, human error becomes almost inevitable.
Especially with complex forms, I imagine.
Absolutely, especially things that need real legal precision, like the I-9 form. Get that wrong, and it's trouble.
That inefficiency, that burden, it leads straight to problem number 2, doesn't it? Time consumption.
It does.
I've heard of so many companies trying to cram everything into like a single week or maybe a rushed month if you're lucky.
And the research shows that programs lasting less than 1 month are actively damaging to retention rates.
Damaging, not just ineffective.
Damaging. Because it takes time, real time, for a new hire to absorb the company culture, to understand their role in the bigger picture, and to get decent job-specific training. When you rush it, you basically signal that the employee isn't really seen as a long-term investment.
And when they're rushed, or when they get that signal, that creates failure point number 3, unproductive new hires.
Which is just an enormous drain. Unproductive employees negatively impact efficiency across the board because they need constant input, constant management from existing staff.
So it pulls everyone else down too.
Precisely. The whole team starts to feel the drag.
And that leads us squarely into failure point 4.
Yeah.
Lack of engagement. If you don't feel valued or you don't feel equipped, you just check out mentally, right?
This one might be the most insidious problem, honestly. Actively disengaged employees. Well, the data shows they're more likely to miss work, negatively influence their colleagues, even steal.
Steal, really?
Yeah, we saw a pretty stark report from Aon Hewitt, I think it was 2018, showing 35% of employees were actively disengaged.
35%. That's over a third of the workforce.
35%. Imagine the drag that puts on the entire organization's ability to innovate, to just get things done.
That's huge. That's almost half the workforce just doing the bare minimum. What a crisis.
And finally, all of this sort of manifests as failure number 5, the lack of communication and check-ins.
Right, being left adrift.
Exactly. Getting new hires up to speed requires full access to support, good training tools, and regular, meaningful one-on-one manager interaction. If a new hire feels like they've just been dropped in the deep end without a lifeline, they stall. Simple as that.
Okay, so strategically then, what's the big payout? If we fix this whole cascading failure, what's the upside?
The payout is long-term retention and really maximizing the lifetime value of that employee.
Okay.
The data tells us retention significantly increases when companies commit to investing in new hires until they reach full productivity. And that often takes, 8 to 12 months.
8 to 12 months, not just the first few
Well, at
weeks.
all. But here's the key metric. New hires who go through a genuinely structured, well-thought-out program are 58% more likely to stay with the organization after 3 years.
58%.
Yeah.
That's massive.
It's the difference between constantly being stuck in recruiting mode and actually building a stable, experienced team.
That 58% retention boost.
Yeah.
That's the moment you realize, okay, modern onboarding software isn't just some administrative helper app. It's an investment strategy.
Exactly.
It's what transforms a new hire into a fully contributing employee, maybe faster than ever before. So if we're on this buyer's journey now, what features absolutely must be on our checklist? What are the non-negotiables?
We have to start with compliance and security. Have to. Because this is the area where those old paper processes create genuine legal and financial danger.
Right.
Non-compliance, especially around employment eligibility verification, the I-9 stuff can lead to fines up to $1,000 or even more per occurrence.
$1,000 per error, per form. Is that audited frequently, or is that just for, like, the really bad offenders?
It's frequent enough that you simply cannot ignore the risk. Human error on the I-9 form. It's notoriously common.
Okay.
So the technology must handle this. You need to look for platforms that offer direct submissions to E-Verify.
That's the government's electronic system, right?
Correct. This system should also have pre-built local and state forms like the W-4 ready to go. And if you operate globally, the ability to handle international custom forms is key. But the absolute non-negotiable feature here is the electronic signing, storage, and auditing of I-9 forms. Automating that drastically cuts your compliance risk.
Okay, that handles the legal paperwork side. But what about the digital side security? We're talking sensitive data here.
Security is paramount. You are handling extremely sensitive personal information. So you need cloud-based providers who use a data center partner that duly encrypts PII.
PII. Remind us.
Personally identifiable information. Things like social security numbers, birth dates, home addresses, bank details sometimes.
Got it. And dual encryption. What's that mean in plain English?
It means they aren't just locking the front door, they've locked the whole building and put guards at every entry point, digitally speaking. The data is encrypted both when it's just sitting there, stored, and when it's being transmitted.
Okay, belts and braces.
Exactly, and you should ask specifically about compliance standards like SOC2 and Trust2.
Wait, let's quickly define those. SOC2 and Trustee, what are they checking for?
They're basically auditing standards. They confirm that a vendor has really rigorous controls in place to protect customer data. SOC2 specifically looks at security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy of the system.
Right.
If a vendor can't clearly demonstrate they meet these standards, frankly, they aren't treating your data and your employees' data with the seriousness it requires. Huge red flag.
Good to know. Okay, so beyond protecting data, the big promise of tech is saving time, right? Yeah. That brings us to automation and workflows.
Absolutely. This is where you get huge efficiency gains. Automated workflows remove the need for HR or managers to manually push tasks along, chase signatures, that kind of thing.
Fewer things falling through the cracks.
Exactly. It mitigates errors across different departments and ensures no task just gets forgotten. You should look for systems that can turn any document into a digital drag-and-drop form and leverage e-signatures that work on any device, phone, tablet, computer.
Makes sense.
That's what gets an employee from just hired to actually working and productive seamlessly and quickly.
Now, crucially, this shiny new software can't just live on an island. It needs to talk to everything else you're already using. We need solid ecosystem integration.
Oh, absolutely critical. If the new system doesn't talk to your existing HR stack, you're just creating a new silo, a new place where someone has to manually enter data. That completely defeats the purpose.
Right, you trade one problem for another.
Exactly. The goal is a complete digital ecosystem. You need seamless communication with your HRIS, your main human resources information system.
Like Workday or SAP SuccessFactors.
Right. And your ATS, the applicant tracking system you used for hiring.
Greenhouse lever.
Yep. And of course, your payroll systems. So you absolutely must check for compatibility with common platforms like ADP, UKG, Workday, Paychex, whatever you use, very early in your evaluation process.
Don't fall in love with something that won't connect.
Precisely. And finally, none of this tech matters if it's a pain to use. We need a fantastic user experience.
For everyone involved, right? Not just HR.
Critical for adoption across the board. Look for a great self-service portal. This is where new hires can track their own progress, see customized checklists, watch training videos, access links, read team handbooks, whatever you need them to see.
Empowering them from day one.
Exactly. And since we all live on our phones, it absolutely must be mobile friendly. That means providing app access that works smoothly on both iOS and Android. That convenience empowers employees and their managers to handle things on the go.
Okay, so the tech sounds impressive, the feature checklist is clear, but let's talk brass tacks here. Implementing something like this isn't trivial. It's a serious internal project.
It really is.
What are the key things we need to consider before we even think about signing a contract? How do we set our organization up for success here?
Yeah, implementation is where a lot of great software purchases, unfortunately, falter. So preparation is everything. First, let's talk budget. And this isn't just the sticker price for the software license you see advertised.
Right. What are the hidden or maybe overlooked costs people often miss?
Time and expertise are huge ones. You need to budget for having the right experienced people internally, or maybe bringing in external consultants to handle that initial setup and configuration.
Getting it tailored to your needs.
Exactly. Their expertise is super valuable in configuring the system correctly to match your unique workflows, your company structure. Don't skimp there. Second, you must have a clear strategy, like a written down comprehensive implementation strategy.
What goes into that?
It needs to detail who's actually available for the implementation team, when it's going to take place, realistically how long you expect the rollout to last, and who is specifically responsible for each part, each module. Accountability.
Okay, clear plan, clear responsibilities, and we also need to think about ease of use and ramp-up time for the existing workforce who have to use this thing.
Absolutely. This is crucial. Look for vendors that provide implementation consultants, people who can guide you one-on-one through the process. Check if they have a robust self-help center, a good knowledge base for ongoing support.
Makes sense?
And remember this vital point, this onboarding software. It's going to be used by all employees, eventually managers approving things, existing team members maybe buddying up, and obviously the new hires themselves. It's not just for the 2 people in HR admin roles.
Good point.
So you must dedicate focused training time for every single user group to make sure adoption is smooth and people actually use it correctly.
That preparation sounds non-negotiable, especially when you start reaching out for demos. Those initial sessions are usually free, right? But you need to go in prepared.
Oh, definitely.
What should the listener have ready before that first call with a vendor so they don't waste their time or the vendor's time?
Great question. You need to be able to clearly describe your current process, even if it's messy. The vendor needs to understand the pain points you're trying to solve.
Okay.
You must establish a firm timeline. When do you need to make a decision by? When do you realistically want to implement? Vendors need that context.
Right.
And critically, you need the numbers. What's your average number of new hires annually? How many physical locations or distinct operating units do you have? This helps the vendor scope the solution and the pricing accurately.
Got it. Numbers are key. And most importantly, I guess, confirm those required integrations up front.
Yes. Tell them specifically which HRIS, ATS, or payroll platforms they absolutely must talk to. Don't waste hours looking at a beautiful solution that can't integrate with the systems you've already invested heavily in.
Total deal breaker. Okay, now let's flip the script. You, the listener, you need your own checklist of questions to ask the vendor during that demo. Don't just sit back and watch the slideshow.
Please don't. You need to pin down their pricing structure. Get specific. What are the license fees based on? Are there mandatory add-on modules? And crucially, are there separate one-time implementation fees? Get it all itemized.
The moment of truth on cost. What else do we absolutely need to ask them?
You must drill down on their customer support model. What specific training is available after implementation? Is ongoing support included in the license fee, or is it an extra cost? How do you access support phone, email, chat? What are the response times?
Good questions. Get the support details clear.
And circle back hard on security. Ask precisely how they ensure your data security. Reference that SOC2 and trustee compliance again. Ask if the system provides a clear, unchangeable audit trail of every action, every modification made.
You can see who did what when.
Exactly. Knowing these answers up front prevents very expensive buyer's remorse down the line. #tag outro.
Wow. This has been a really critical deep dive. Let's try and quickly summarize maybe the 2 central pillars of what we've discussed. First, those manual paper-based processes. They're not just costing you efficiency. They are actively bleeding your company through high early turnover and potentially thousands in compliance fines. Remember that $1,000 per error figure.
Heavy cause.
Second, a modern solution absolutely requires automated compliance features, robust security standards like SOC 2, and critically seamless integration with your existing HR ecosystem. Don't overlook that connectivity.
And maybe adding one final thought on the strategic shift here. Onboarding has to be viewed differently now. It's not just an administrative checkpoint after the offer letter. It's really the final critical stage of recruitment itself. The success of that onboarding program directly determines whether the new employee's actual experience aligns with the expectations you set during hiring.
And that alignment.
That alignment is what maximizes their potential lifetime value to your organization. Get it wrong and you lose them early. Get it right and you build loyalty and productivity.
That brings us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you to chew on this week. We started with that shocking statistic.
Yeah.
86%. 86% of new hires decide how long they will stay with a company within their first 6 months.
6 months. That's the window.
So use that fact. Assess your current system right now. Does your current onboarding process truly treat those first 6 months as a dynamic, deeply engaging final stage of recruitment?
Right.
Or is it still, maybe unintentionally, just functioning as a transactional administrative checkpoint to get the paperwork done?
Tough question to ask, honestly.
It is. But how you answer that question, that really defines your future retention rate and ultimately your profitability. Something to really think about.
Definitely something to think about. Until next time.